In a world where every headline is filled with tension, this one will stop you in your tracks. What if I told you that former President Donald Trump was left speechless by the destruction Iran caused in Israel? Not just surprised, he was shaken. This story is not just about war. It's about power, betrayal, and a dangerous shift in global strength. So stay with me until the end, because what's happening right now could change everything you thought you knew about the Middle East and America's place in it. A recent series of explosive events has caught the attention of the entire world. Iran, long seen as a regional power, just proved that its military might is far more advanced than most experts believed. Their recent strike against Israel shocked the world and even rattled Donald Trump himself. According to private reports, Trump personally contacted key officials after witnessing the scale of the destruction. In one of the most intense attacks ever recorded, Iranian missiles leveled key Israeli buildings and military installations. What makes this different from previous strikes? Intelligence insiders say the precision and power of the attack were unimaginable. Entire structures collapsed within seconds. Witnesses described it as something out of a disaster movie. Only this time, it was real life. Donald Trump, usually confident and bold, reportedly shouted during a high-level phone call, "I've never seen anything like this." According to close aides, he warned Israeli leadership to pull back their airstrikes and reassess their strategy. Even the chief of NATO was brought in to discuss the damage. Trump said, "I couldn't believe what I saw in those videos." Those videos were filmed by American and European journalists who traveled to Israel. One journalist said he had never seen such destruction in his life. Buildings were reduced to rubble. Streets were empty. Emergency services struggled to rescue survivors buried under debris. The journalist described the scene as worse than war zones I've covered in Iraq and Syria. What's especially shocking is that the Israeli military wasn't expecting such a powerful response from Iran. They had launched their own attack just days before, targeting what they believed were Iran's nuclear facilities. The plan was to weaken Iran's capabilities. But instead, it seems Iran had prepared for this moment with a deadly counterstrike. Behind the scenes, Trump was furious. He reportedly yelled at Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu over the phone, "Call off your jets. Bring back the pilots. We are not going to war because of your miscalculation." These words, if accurate, mark a turning point in U.S.-Israeli relations. For years, the two countries have acted in lockstep. This moment, however, showed a rare crack in that bond. The result? Israel grounded its fighter jets. The orders came directly from Netanyahu after intense pressure from Washington. Trump's message was clear. The U.S. would not be dragged into a full-scale war with Iran, especially when the consequences could spiral out of control. And what about Iran? Its leaders were watching everything. From their point of view, this was a moment of triumph. For years, they've faced sanctions, sabotage, and covert attacks. Now, for the first time in decades, they struck back and made the world take notice. The missiles Iran used weren't just powerful, they were precise. Intelligence analysts say this is no longer the same Iran of 5 years ago. Their technology has improved, their tactics have evolved, and their willingness to confront Israel directly is a bold new step. Inside Israel, panic began to spread. Citizens rushed to shelters. Markets crashed. Hospitals were overwhelmed. And for the first time, political leaders began asking whether their alliance with the U.S. was enough to protect them from what Iran had become. Meanwhile, back in the U.S., Trump held emergency meetings with his advisors. He also spoke to NATO representatives, trying to calm fears. But privately, sources say Trump was shaken. He told one confidant, "This isn't just about Israel. This is about how the world sees power now." Trump's fears aren't unfounded. If Iran can strike Israel so effectively, what does that mean for other countries in the region? What does it mean for American bases spread across the Middle East? These are the questions now being asked in Washington, London, and beyond. Military experts are comparing Iran's recent attack to some of the most devastating moments in modern warfare. They say Iran's missile technology has reached a level that rivals even the most advanced nations. This is no longer a regional conflict. It's a global threat. Even more disturbing are reports that Iran didn't use its full military capability. Analysts believe that this was a demonstration, just a taste of what they can do. If true, the implications are massive. It means Iran is holding back and may strike again if provoked. This conflict also exposed weaknesses in Israel's defense systems. Their Iron Dome, long considered one of the best in the world, failed to stop many of the missiles. Military officials are scrambling to understand how so many projectiles made it through their defenses. Iran, for its part, has claimed victory, not just militarily, but politically. They believe this strike shows they're no longer afraid. They believe it sends a message. If you hit us, we will hit back harder. Meanwhile, Trump's political opponents are using this moment to question his previous foreign policy decisions. Some say his tough talk and confrontational approach may have pushed Iran too far. Others say he was right to show strength, but that he underestimated the consequences. One of the most chilling aspects of this event is what it suggests about the future. If Iran can do this to Israel, who's next? Could American bases be targeted next time? Could U.S. allies in the region be pulled into a broader war? These are the questions now being debated in Congress, on cable news, and in the Pentagon. Behind closed doors, there's a growing concern that we may be on the brink of a larger conflict, one that could draw in the world's major powers. But here's where the story takes another twist. According to leaked reports, Iran had inside help. Hundreds of suspected spies and traitors were arrested within their own borders just days before the strike. Iranian intelligence is now focusing on rooting out all threats from within. This may explain why Iran was able to coordinate such an effective attack. Their networks were secure, their communication was clean, and their drones and missiles were able to operate without interruption. Some analysts are now saying that this strike was Iran's warning shot, a signal to America, Israel, and NATO that the rules have changed, that Iran is no longer playing defense. They're ready to go on the offensive. And Trump? He's stuck in the middle. On one hand, he doesn't want a war. On the other, he's watching as America's influence in the Middle East is challenged like never before. He told NATO leaders, if we don't act smart. In Iran, however, the mood is one of celebration. State media is calling it a historic victory. Citizens took to the streets, waving flags and cheering the military strength. Their message is clear. Iran has arrived. Behind the scenes, U.S. intelligence agencies are scrambling to verify just how much damage was done and how it happened so quickly. They're also worried about what Iran might do next. There's another layer to this story. Some insiders claim that the real reason behind Trump's call to Netanyahu wasn't just concern. It was fear. Fear that Iran might retaliate further. Fear that nuclear sites might be next. Fear that this could spark World War III. Whether or not that's true, one thing is certain. The world is watching. And no one knows what's coming next. For the average American, British, Canadian, or Australian viewer, it's time to pay attention. This is not just a regional issue. It's a global security crisis, and it's unfolding in real time with consequences that could reach your own country. In a moment like this, we need clarity. We need leadership. And most importantly, we need to understand the truth. Because what's happening in Israel and Iran today could shape the world we live in tomorrow. Stay tuned to this channel for continued updates. And remember, peace is never guaranteed. It must be protected, preserved, and earned through wisdom, not just power. We'll continue to bring you the facts without the spin. Subscribe to Tyler Grayson for more in-depth analysis as this situation develops. Your understanding matters. Stay safe, stay informed, and stay alert.